Hello, my name is Lukasz Lukowski and I represent EdgeCore Networks company. Really thank you that you all were able to come. Based on the website, I saw that it will be 5 people, so I decided that I will take you all to the bar, but I feel that still I'm able to do it, yeah? So when we will finish, we could have a short pleasure. So starting, probably our company is still not well known in Europe, and I will try to explain who we are, and especially a few words about our mother company, Acton. So Acton is the biggest Taiwanese networking manufacturer. Acton is on that business for 25 years, mostly building ODM, OEM equipment for most of Tier 1 brands. I'm pretty sure that at least 80% of brands which join this event are some kind like our customers. At Acton Group, we have, at that holding, we have different companies, and 2 of them are like a brand businesses. So this is EdgeCore Networks, where I am working. And at EdgeCore, we are focusing on data centers market, enterprise, and wireless, and also carrier. SMC Networks, maybe this brand is or should be familiar to some people who mostly were working or living in States. So SMC mostly is dedicated for some SOHO equipment. Some, we can say, unmanagement switches with PoE, but also depends on which continent. It could be cable modems or maybe some IP set-top boxes, but in general, equipment dedicated for home users. We are growing like a group. This year, we are shooting 1 billion revenue. In 2011, we had 42% of share of so-called no Cisco Ethernet switch port, so pizza buzzer, through ODM business. Worldwide, we have around 4,000 plus employees, excluding blue workers. So we are not counting here any our colleagues who are working on the high-speed production line, including 650 network engineers. What is our big advantage that most of our competitors on the data centers field are coming from a server world, storage world, or computing. We, Acton Group, from the beginning to present days, we are doing networking. The headquarters is located in Hsinchu, Taiwan. We have 3 development and architecture centers located in Taiwan, China, and States. We manufacturing mostly in Taiwan, in China. They are located 18 high-speed production line. But all data centers equipment we are manufacturing, we can say in-house at our headquarters in Taiwan, because simply we can react much more faster. Right now, when we are discussing about the data centers market, we have a pleasure to working with 3 from the 5 the biggest players. One about which we can share with you officially, it is a Facebook. Also on our booth, you can take a look and visit us and see a special design which we do together with the Facebook. We are active vendors on OCP networks. We are contribution our switches, 10G, 40G, 100G. We have also different choices of the most leading network operation softwares like Cumulus Network, Big Switch Network, PK8, and others. And what is also important that this year in February, we took joint venture with HP, and we are supporting HP like an Acton Group with our design mind and manufacturing field. And we are producing for HP bare metal switches, because also HP is another brand who entered this open networking world. So we have everything what is needed to design and produce a top-class hardware. We have our chambers to check all signals because we are producing not only switches, but also wireless, also access point, wireless controllers, also some special equipment dedicated for a build telco, also some GPON stickers. So to provide a really top quality services, top quality hardware, we need to have this all needed tested device and chambers. We can say for our own use every day, every time. We are really good with a low defect and mean time between the failure. It is mostly close to the zero. When some specific model is above 2%, then of course we are stopping the production and trying to find a root issue and fix it as soon as possible. So once again, we have our own manufacturing site, and this is really important because many of networking company simply just outsourcing this part. So once again, we are like an Acton group. We are manufacturing hardware like switches, data center switches, 1G, 10G, 40G, 100G, also enterprise series. Also, really nice access point. By the way, right now, like an edge core, we are running one big project with a wireless in Turkey. It is exactly 80,000 access points, so quite big one. And just to remind, we have in total 20 high-speed production line for our own use and for our use to our ODM partners. But I'm working at EdgeCore Networks. So EdgeCore Network brand was launched in 2004, and then 6 years later, spun off from an Acton, and right now we are working like an independent management business. But still we are located in the same building. And for example, we are employees around 150 plus people globally, including me. So maybe this is not the biggest number, but we are also getting really good support from our mother company, from Acton Group. So open networking. I know that there is a lot of different information right now. Everyone are discussing about open networking, open hardware, open software. So from this same trend we saw a few years ago with bare metal servers. It means that a couple years ago and up to now, we can just buy a hardware like a server and install on top of it any software, any system, like of course Linux or software from system from Microsoft. Then we have, so it is a bare metal servers. Then we have, of course, BIOS and PXA, and on top of it, operation system and application. And the same, right now, we are seeing in the networking field. So we have a bare metal switch. It is just a hardware. Then on top of it, inside that hardware, there is a Ubuntu. It is some kind like a ladder and open network install environment. It is a piece of software which allows us to install on top of that switch different operation system. And like I mentioned, on top of that switches, we can install OS and different application. When we take a look on data centers topology, we used to saw in the data centers a big chassis with plenty of the line cards, supervisors, and the backplane. But right now in the modern data centers, we are dealing with spin and leaf architecture. So this is a cloud topology where in fact potential same switches we can use like a leaf, so like our line cards, and for a 40G or 100G aggregation, spine switches like our backplane. This is really significant, reducing the CapEx, OpEx, and providing a huge flexibility. The whole concept of open networking is coming from the biggest players like Facebook, like Google, like Amazon. They decided a few years ago that they don't want it to be anymore with a legacy product. Because first, the industry, the old feature which they are getting from such as vendors like, for example, Cisco, Arista, others, they were not able to develop so fast. So this was the first idea. And of course, the reduction of the cost when they are going to the sources company like we, it was something obviously. But what is an open networking for us, for EdgeCore? So it is an open hardware, open software, could be controller, and application. But what exactly this open networking means? So I will use an example. So theoretically, we could take EdgeCore switches, Quanta switches, Dell switches, HP switches, and install on top of it operation system. For example, Cumulus network. And all switches, in the fact, are using the same, mostly chipset. 99% of the data center silicons are coming from Broadcom. So I'm guessing that the most popular right now is Trident 2. In fact, industry is going to the x86 architecture, so it will be CPU from Intel, probably Atom. And when we will install this operation software, these all switches, even that they are coming from different vendors, they will run the same. And the same story is on the opposite side. It means on the software. Theoretically, if we are using software X, and after 1-2 years, we will decide that we wanted to change our software to, for example, Cumulus network or Big Switch network or PK8, we can do it, and we will keep the hardware. This is the real open networking for us. It is not just that we will disaggregate in our price list hardware and the software, and still the software just running on the same hardware. There are also other disadvantages that there is no any lock-in when we are taking a look on the transceivers optics. We are not pushing, and our software partners, they are not pushing anyone to use branded transceivers. In fact, we can use a Cisco one or any OEM which we will find. So this is also a really big return of potential investments, because based on my knowledge, 10G transceivers up to 10 kilometers, SFP+, the cost, the OEM is around $40 maximum. But there is also another point that when we are dealing with a legacy product, then of course there will be one day when this series will go into end of life. What this means? It means that we will be not able to purchase any new units, and probably after a few weeks, few months, the support will be also going, to the end of life. Here, hardware and the software is disaggregated. So, of course, hardware will go someday end of life, because we will focus on the next generation of chipset and so on and so on. But the software, you will still get the upgrade, because software will not go end of life. I mentioned that we are really active in Open Compute project. OCP was started by Facebook. Right now, it is running like an independent, we can say, industry, independent forum. So what we are doing there, we were the first ODM networking manufacturer who joined OCP. We designed a special adapter which allowed to use 90-inch switches according to the OCP standards. Probably, like the OCP racks got 21 inches. and most of the time they are powered over 12 volts. So using this piece of metal, we are able to use standard 90 inches switches and install it to the OCP approved racks. We were the first who provide 10G OCP design. It was our 5712 model, 10G with 48 times 10G, Trident 2, 6 times 40G, and Intel CPU. Then we provided new switch models to OCP, like a 40G and 100G. It was a big pleasure. It was in March when we announced the first 100G models in an open networking board. But we are also doing a really fancy stuff, we can say a sexy, together with Facebook. And about the wedge, I would like to share with you a bit more information. So, which options from the hardware and the software side we are able to provide? We will focus right now on the hardware, which is available, and I will try to show you the newest models which we are using. So this is the wedge. Wedge was designed by Facebook. It is also in our EdgeCore traditional standard offer, but wedge, it is not just a switch. It is something more. When we will take a look, we will find it that wedge got 16 times 40G QSFP+, also microserver, and on the back there is a management switch. So from one side, it is a dedicated top of the rack switch. Yeah. So from the one side, it is a switch which could aggregate quite many, because it will be 16 times 4 times 10G if we will use breakout cables. Because of the management switch, management port on the back, we are able to control the environment in the rack. And the microserver, you can just follow your imagination what we can do, but it is something really what is changing the industry. Theoretical, if the equipment will allow us to do, we are able to even make some kind like a tap application running on top of that switcher, on top of that microserver, and it could theoretically significantly reduce the numbers of servers in our networks. But wedge was just a beginning. We can say that in our traditional series, but of course the open one with ONI, the 40G models got Trident 2 chipset, Intel CPU. It is available with Cumulus Network and PK8. It was that mentioned a first 40G OCP design. I would like to say you some difference between chipset. So Trident 2 we are using for 10G and 40G models. Trident 2 allow you to use hardware VXLANs. So this is really important. If you are looking for VXLANs, you need to only choose Trident 2 and higher models. Trident Plus, Hurricane, and so on. Unfortunately not. But with Trident 2, we are able to split this 40G QSFP Plus interface into 4 times 10G. Maybe this is something standard, but not all customers, partners are aware of that we are able to do it with 26 interface. So in total, from that 1U, we are able to get 104 times 10G. And 104 times 10G, it is more like 2 10G switches. 104 times 10G or 1 40G models is less expensive like 2 10G switches. Why? I mentioned that Trident 2 we all are using to produce 40G switches and also 10G switches. And 1 40G models will take less from your rack, just 1U, less issue with the heating, less power consumption. And when I will use an example. In Europe, I have one project when we are discussing around 160 10G switches and 28 40G. So we propose to change only to the 40G. And the total value of that project, we were able to reduce around 80,000 USD. So really, it is something worth to remember. Because always when we are showing the 40G, then partners who are using right now 1G and are thinking about the 10G, of course, 40G, it is too high, too much. But come on, no. Think about the 40G like a high 10G aggregation. This is the key. But there is a small trick. When we will take a look on the 10G, 48 times 10G plus 6 times 40G. So there is a small difference because the 10G interface, when we will use with DAC cables, it could support 10G, but also it could low to 1G. So if you have an existing network, which is right now 1G, and you are thinking about the 10G, 10G is good. But if you have, again, 1G, you are thinking about the 10G and wanted to use the 40G, then the 40G interface, QSFP+, we can just split into 4 times 10G, not 4 times 1G. Small difference, worth to remember. These models, we make the porting together with Cumulus network, PK8 network, and also Big Switch network, and these two famous applications like Big Tap and Big Cloud Fabric. New series, so the rest, the previous series which I present, of course, the thinking is still about the data centers, cloud topology, leaf and spine. So we are trying to change the market and change the thinking, because in our opinion, in our humble opinion, this industry is migrating. It is migrating from that call it open networking data centers also to the enterprise and the carrier. That is the reason that we provide like a first new generation of the 1G series with 24 or 48 times a 1G RJ45 copper one and 4 times 10G, but 2 of these models are supporting PoE. And even ultra PoE, so the budget is really high. Because of the 8 first port, we are able to deliver up to 60 watt per ports. Right now, the porting is finished with PK8, and Cumulus is on the way to also make the porting. And there, maybe you can see to another interface, there are 2 times 20G QSFP+. So this is something, again, for a future. It is to make this hardware stackable. Unfortunately, right now, our partners, software partners, they are a little bit with the thinking on the different fields, but we strongly believe that this market is changing, and the enterprise is the next step, and the carrier as well. But the portfolio is really full. I just show 3 series, but we have fully 1G, 10G, 40G, and really coming soon 100G in the mass production. So what is coming soon? Really soon, in the mass production, we will have a 100G solution based on the Tomahawk chipset. 32 times 100G based on QSFP28. Really powerful, like a small pizza box. By the way, this model we have also on our booth, so please visit us for more details. So, like I mentioned, 32 times 100G QSFP28, but Tomahawk is really powerful. With Tomahawk, we can make a lot of different, we can say, flexible breaking down or splitting the interface. So each interface got 4 lines. These lines could be configured like a 25G or like a 10G. If the configuration is 4 times 25G, so we are discussing about 100G QSFP+ or 100G interface. But we can use a next generation of breakout cables and split that interface into 4 times 25G. And 25G is something that is on the way. But I also mentioned that there is a possibility to change the speed from the 25 to the 10G. So we can also split this interface into 4 times 10G. But there are also other combinations like 250G, or totally we can change the speed from the 100G to the 40G, and then we will be able to connect existing 40G network. But like Trident 2 had some limitation that we were able to use only up to 26 interface or 26 breakout cables, that Tomahawk no any limit. So in total, we can get from that 1U up to, okay, ooh, we will speed up, up to 128 times 25G or 128 times 10G, or any other combination which I mentioned with the 25, 50, 10, and 40G. So this is really unbelievable. And more or less, the MSRP price should be around 22, 23,000 of USD. So this is really a power of open networking. But Tomahawk is not the only one chipset on which we are focused on. We are also working with Cavium, and we already did similar construction, so 32 times 100G, with the same possible splitting of the interface. But Cavium is a pretty programmable, so it means that we can decide which table we wanted to spend for what. And it is making this chipset really more powerful for some application, like maybe SDN and flows, or for example MPLS, because in fact Broadcom was not designed for an MPLS. Yeah, it was designed for data centers application. What more? This year we will also have a new chipset on board. It is Trident 2 Plus. What this Plus is giving us? This Plus, in fact, is able to provide us 4 times 100G. But we will not use this 100G potential interface, but we wanted just to improve the ASIC in our existing 40G models. Yeah? And I know that especially some of our software partners are looking for Trident 2 Plus. On the way, Copper 10G, it is maybe only one model which is missing in our portfolio. So we were up to now not focusing on the 10G base T because the demand was quite low, but we know that some server vendors are pushing on the Copper NIC cards. That is the reason that, of course, it needs to be in our portfolio. So just to summarize, from EdgeCore Network, we are delivering the hardware. In fact, it is the same hardware like you can find in most of brands. Same chipset, same CPU, and in fact, based our cooperation with HP and Acton, ODM business, the hardware is pretty much similar. From our third-party software vendors, we are, of course, getting switch operation system. If the system could working or is based on the SDN controllers, then we are able to get it. Like for example, from Big Switch Network, where you are getting everything. So it is a switch with the SDN and application on top of it. But there is still a really big open source community. And I believe that maybe 1 year, maximum 2 years, and in the end, we will be able just to download our operation software from the internet. Maybe it will be not the best in the class. Maybe it will be without premium support that we will be able to call to someone anytime, any day, but it will be totally for free. So, questions? Please.
Do you also have switches with FCOE support?
FCOE, it is the... I'm not sure, we will need to check because, yes. So we have, what options do we have? We are working with Cumulus Network, with Big Switch Network, with PK8, with IP Infusion. We are starting with Broadcom ICOS, with some improvement from Acton side, with Open Networks, Linux, and others on the way. And of course, such as big partners like players like Google, Amazon, Facebook, mostly they are running the node software, yeah, on top of our or similar switches, yeah. So please visit our booth. We are located between IBM and Dell. And please also go for a technical part. There will be my colleague from Cumulus Network, Misha. It will be podium 1. Please check the hours because I used the hours from the website and I know that there was some small change, but I'm pretty sure that will be really interesting topic. I would like to thank you. It is everything from my side. Thank you.